Hey guys, Enis, Whiteacre Properties. Welcome to another episode. I'm excited to have you guys at the office here at the Whiteacre headquarters. But today we're going to talk about crunching the numbers on a rental property. Anytime we do a video like this, you guys love it. So I'm taking the time to show you how I run numbers on a property like this. 51 Beaver Street. I've done another video before. If you haven't watched it, take a look below at the link. I go over how we found the property, the renovation process, thought process of what we're doing with the building. Today, we're just gonna go and do a deep dive into the numbers. Before I do that, let's talk about why we actually buy real estate. But you guys know, if you have followed me for a while, that we wholesale, we fix and flip, we build ground up new construction, but every few deals like that, we buy a rental property. That's our goal. We actually started in real estate investing to buy and own rental properties. And the reason for that is when we fix and flip, it's a transactional process and you have to find the deal, you have to renovate it, and you get paid once, right? But that property is gone and it's gone forever. With rental properties, the rental income keeps coming. So that's one huge benefit that we like, right? Having consistent income from rentals coming in. Number two is typically multifamily and rentals in general, value goes up. So when I look back at some fix and flips from 3, 5, 6 years ago or 9 years ago when I got started, those properties have doubled in value, but we sold them, right? So we made a quick profit, but we sold them. With the rentals we own now, the value keeps going up. So that's a huge benefit. And the fact that tenants are paying our mortgage down. Without getting into the tax planning and all the tax benefits that we get from owning the multifamily, these three main reasons are actually what we love the most. Without further ado, I'm gonna go in, show you guys exactly the numbers from the purchase price, the rehab numbers, and the return on investment, right? Why are we really buying this property? So I'm gonna share with you real numbers from this property in Massachusetts. So let's jump into Rehab Evaluator software and we can get this started. Rehab Evaluator, by the way, is what I use to analyze deals, and I highly recommend that you guys use something similar. They also have a free version, so start with that, get familiar. It's an amazing tool to be prepared with all the numbers before you even buy a property. Just so you guys know, I jump on Rehab Evaluators even before buying a property because I really want to know what is going to be my cash flow, what's going to be my return on investment, right? Is this a good deal or a bad deal? You don't want to buy a property, wing it. You think you know what you're doing, you think you know this is going to work, but you're just taking a gamble at it. That's not how we invest in real estate. You want to crunch the numbers up front, you want to track your expenses, and then once everything is said and done, go back and analyze the deal to see if actually it worked out. We work Rehab Evaluators to underwrite a lot of the properties, and we probably say yes to 5% of the deals, 3% of the deals, right? Because a lot of the deals don't make sense. So let's actually go over the numbers here. Purchase price. We purchased this property in Worcester, right? You'll plug in the address for $175,000. I have worked on this beforehand just to make this video quick for you guys, but $175,000 was the purchase price. Then software itself is going to ask you for the closing costs. Now, anytime you buy real estate, you got closing costs. Don't listen to the HGTV shows. There are a lot more costs than purchase renovations, right? And for closing costs, typically I do 2% of the purchase price. You can also go and be very detailed and put everything. But what's included in the closing costs, you got the attorney fees. Anywhere in Massachusetts, you're going to be roughly at $1,500 per transaction. If it's a regular transaction in attorney fees, you got a title insurance and you got recording fees. Typically those add up to be about 2% of the purchase price. So just for easy math, I'm going to do that. That's turned into $3,500. Enter holding costs. This is another important one. Every time we own real estate, every month we got payments. Other than the mortgage payment, you got property tax, property insurance, you got electricity, right? Gas, all the utilities need to be included. And then you got landscape, right? You got snow plowing. So you cannot skip on those costs, guys, because those are real numbers that you got to plug in because that's an expense. So we're going to put in $300 a month for insurance. We're going to do about $100 a month for electricity because this is a vacant building, right? So you don't have a ton of electricity on all the time because no one lives there. Water and sewer, right? Same thing. I put $150 for lawn care, landscape, and snow plowing, right? But make sure you capture all that cost. So $650 a month, we got to put away to pay our expenses while we hold the property. Rehab budget. This is probably one of the most important numbers here. If you are not in construction, you're gonna have a hard time figuring out the rehab numbers. I've been doing it for 9+ years, and only at this point, I'm really getting close to understanding the numbers before I start the project. And when I'm done, I look back and I am within 10% of a variance. In the past, I've been off 30%, I've been off 40%, and that's not good, right? Because starting a project, you need to know how much you're going to spend into this. That's the most important thing. So if you're just starting out, you might be wondering, like, how the heck can I calculate the numbers? So you either have to partner with somebody that's in the construction space, you either hire a good general contractor that can help you with this, or you got to learn, right? I learned the hard way from my mistakes, right? And I don't recommend that. Hopefully you guys can find a better way to work with either a great GC, find a good partner that knows construction, but understanding construction numbers upfront and tracking those expenses as you make progress renovating a property is extremely important. This property is about 4,500 square feet. We have a lump sum here of $400,000, which is just shy of $100 per square foot. This is in Massachusetts, so if you are in a different state, and even for Massachusetts, these numbers will vary depending if you are Boston or Springfield, right? If you are South Shore or North Shore. So that's why I'm saying you got to understand your rehab numbers. For us, it's just shy of $100 per square foot. But the 3-family we're talking about is a full gut renovation. So we're keeping the existing building, but it's literally a shell, right? We go in, we demo everything, and we start installing everything brand new. Mechanicals, right? Roof, windows, driveways, anything on the inside, including flooring, kitchen and bath. So it's a big project. I don't want to spend too much on rehab because this video is not about just the rehab budget, but make sure this number here, the right number. And don't forget to also add about 10 or 15% contingency, right? On top of that number, because things will go wrong. I guarantee you guys that. So let's talk about project rehab. It's going to take us 12 months. And the reason why it took us so long is because we have some tenants in there. We had to get them out. The 3-family gut renovation takes us somewhere between 8 and 9 months. So just to be safe, as we are always conservative when we're running numbers, I'm going to plug in 12 months there. And then it's going to ask me if I'm buying this cash. If you follow me, you know that I don't. We always have some type of financing because the profits we get from fix and flips and wholesaling, we usually plug that into the business, right? We grow the business, we use it for deposits, we use it to get this project started, but we don't really buy everything with cash and only work with cash, right? The growth would be so limited if we did that. Financing is the way we have chosen to go. And by financing, what I mean is working with a hard money lender. We got a hard money lender that's coming in. They like the deal. They like the numbers. They said yes to us. They're giving us a loan for 90% of the acquisition price and asking us to put 10% down. So that's our skin in the game in this deal is 10% down. And they're charging us 1 point. And for you guys, if you're new to real estate, 1 point means 1% of the total loan amount. That's a origination fee. That's a fee they have to make this deal work for them. And they're charging us 10% interest on the total loan, 10% annual interest on the loan. They are also giving us 100% of construction funds. So they're going to give us $400,000 for construction, and they're going to give us 90% of the 175, which was the purchase price. One thing about the 400,000, because I've talked to some people, and when I mentioned this, they're like, that's amazing, right? They're giving you all 400 grand. They will, but they're not going to give that all up front, right? They don't write us a check and here's a $400,000. It doesn't work that way. Basically, hard money lenders, they will ask us to start the project. They will ask us to make progress. And let's say if we have made some progress and we want to bring them in for inspection, that's when they're going to release the first draw. So typically for me, what that means is that we do demo. We're gonna start framing. We're gonna do some rough installations for mechanicals. And that's where I bring my hard money lender in for inspection. Depending on the property and the project, might be somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000 that I've invested in the property already out of my own pocket before this lender funds the construction draw, the first one. So keep that in mind, because if you guys want to do a similar deal to this, other than the 10% down, and other than the closing costs that I just mentioned above, you also need to have cash on hand to pay your subcontractors. Keep that in mind because that's very important. When I started out, I didn't understand that concept and I struggle with it. Anytime you hire a general contractor, anytime you hire a subcontractor, they're gonna ask somewhere between 20 and 30% deposit for them to get started on your project. If you're a hard money lender, it's not gonna pay you until some work is done, then you as the investor have to put that money up front. So it can be your own cash, it can be friends and family, but you gotta have that amount of money on the side. Once you do that first one, then it gets easier because the lender will fund you, right? Anything that you put in for that first period of time, you take that money and then you keep paying your contractors to move the project along, you request the second draw, the third draw, and so forth until you are done. So you only need about, again, for a project of this size, somewhere between 40 and 60,000, I'd say, to get started. That will get you through rough inspections, demo, framing, and mechanical deposits, right? The 20-25% deposits that you gotta pay all these guys to get started at rough inspection, get the hard money lender in there, and you get reimbursed. Keep that in mind. Any questions you guys have, comment below, shoot me an email. I'm always available to anyone watching. I love networking with you guys. It gives me a chance to promote the meetup events. I am at the meetup events here in Natick once a month, and I'm pumped, happy, excited to talk to you guys. So if you are watching the video and you have questions for me or the team at Whiteacre, we are here for you. So the other thing that we have to look at is the interest payment during rehab. Look, when you do one project at a time, it's okay to make those monthly payments of interest to the lender. However, if you do multiple projects, the interest payments to the lender can add up to a lot of money. So I've negotiated with my hard money lender to pay the interest when I sell the property. So that's why in that case, I put down that I'm not paying the interest now, I'm gonna pay it when I sell the property. Some lenders might not offer you the option. If they don't know you, and if you are new to real estate investing, they might say, you know what, you actually have to pay monthly interest for the property. If we press yes or if we press no, it's not a big deal. I think it's just easier if you do volume. Cash is king, right? So you guys need cash on hand to do marketing, to pay for payroll, whatever you got as expenses. So if you can keep cash in the bank now and have the interest paid at the end, it's always better. And guys, if you find value in this, subscribe. If this is valuable to you, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and like I said, comment below. I really want to know if this would be helpful for you guys to use as a tool, or if you have any questions at all about how I'm running the deal analysis here. Let's move to the right. I want to stop here for a quick second to mention the BRRRR strategy. What I'm sharing with you guys right now, it's a BRRRR deal, right? And what does BRRRR mean? Well, it stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. When you buy a real estate, you got to buy the right price. This property that we are analyzing was off market. It was at such a good price that you'll see the returns are amazing. Buying the property off market at a discount, renovating it, adding value by fixing it up, improving it, making it better, renting it, getting the tenants in there, market value, best tenants you can, refinancing the property. And this is important because by refinancing, we take all our cash out. And it's important because if we want to grow as real estate investors, refinancing out of this property means that I can take now cash that I didn't have before and buy the next building, right? So every money that I've put into this property, I'm going to get back to buy the next property. So that's why BRRRR is powerful, and it worked amazing in the past. It still works now, but there is far and few between deals right now in Massachusetts. This is one of those. This is a perfect BRRRR strategy. As you'll see down the bottom as we walk through it, the numbers are so strong that I wish we could buy more of this. But that's why we're analyzing this as a BRRRR. And if you guys fix and flip homes, you can also click on the flip calculator to do the analysis that way. So what is the after repair value? Other than renovation cost, this is the most important number in here. Renovation cost, you gotta find it right. ARV, you gotta know that number before you even buy the property. What is the value of the property after you renovate it? If you are an agent, you probably know the market well and you can come up with a number. If you are not an agent and you are brand new, hire a good agent. I've been doing this now for 9+ years, so I go on MLS. And what I do is I look at comparable sales. I go and find another 3-family that sold in the city of Worcester, similar bedrooms, similar bath, similar location in the last, let's say 3-4 months, maybe not more. And I put a dollar amount to it, right? I put a value to this property based on what's sold in the city compared to the property. It's not a difficult exercise for me right now. It might take me 30 minutes and I can come close to what the value is. Instead of 825, if I'm wrong and the property value is 700, well, that's a problem because I buy a property that it's not going to get to the number I'm thinking, right? So, and that would be very different down at the bottom for return on investment. So just something to keep in mind that if you are an agent, good for you. I'm sure you're going to be accurate here. If you are starting out, find a great agent. or see if you can work with an appraiser, right? Someone that understands property values. But ARV is super important to know upfront before even buying the property, before even renovating, what is this property going to be worth, and use comparable sales to get there. How long is it going to take us to rent? Worcester is actually one of the best cities to rent right now because there's so much demand. So I'm being conservative and I'm putting down 2 months to rent, but honestly, this will rent in a month. A lot of these fields are auto-populated, so we don't have to do anything. So let's get down to this number here, which is projected operating income. Basically, the software is asking us how much rent are we going to charge for this unit. Here we are tested on market knowledge. If we don't know the city of Worcester, how can we determine the rent amount per unit, right? It's very difficult. Unless you got a good agent that they can guide you, unless you know the market inside and out. We own other rentals in Worcester, so we have been to open houses, we keep an eye on MLS. If you are an investor, you guys have to do exactly that, right? You need to be amazing at market knowledge. You cannot wing it, right? You can't go and be like, well, I think Boston is charging $3,500, so I think Worcester is the same. No, that's not true, right? You need to be very, very accurate at this. Real estate is very location oriented. Numbers will change from neighborhood to neighborhood sometime in the city of Boston or the city of Worcester. So you got to know the market, guys, to be accurate. But we have done our homework. We are charging $2,800. Actually, we got leases in place for this property. We are renting these units to Clark University students because this is a building at Clark University. These are 4-bedroom apartments, 2 baths, so they're really big, and we can get $2,800. And the best part is that next year we'll be charging $3,000, right? That's the other benefit of real estate investing, that rent typically increases, not always, but rent keeps going up. And as we own the property, the interest will start going down. Let's go over these numbers. $2,800 per apartment. They're identical units, so we're charging $2,800 per month. It gets us to $8,400 per month total, or $100,000, $800 annually. One important thing here that I don't want to skip is the 5% vacancy. Even though the city of Boston, the city of Worcester are very strong rental markets, we still have vacancy. And if you guys don't plug that in, the bank that you're going to work with will calculate the vacancy. So try to put it at a minimum 5% vacancy, because it's just the right thing to do for underwriting. So we updated, that number shows here. So we got about $5,900 net, refinance into permanent financing. So the software is asking me if I want to refinance now into a perm loan. Hard money loans are short term. Typically they are 12 to 18 months. So I usually get into a hard money loan just because they are fast, right? They're usually fast to get and they're easy to get. Yes, they are higher interest than a local bank, but with a hard money lender, we can close really fast. We can close as fast as 2 days, right? And we have done that in the past when someone has time pressure and they need to close, and we can close with a hard money lender in 2 days. So that's why we go with a hard money lender. It's because it's easy and it's fast, and we can then refinance after we have rented the property into permanent financing. So it's asking me if I want to do that. I say yes. It's asking me how much am I refining? 80%, 90%? This will be another piece that you'll have to go out there, talk to local lenders and figure out what is the LTV that they're offering. LTV means loan to value. No bank will give you 100% of the property value, right? So if they think this property is worth $825, the bank I'm working with, they're willing to give me a loan for 80% of that value. They want me to have skin in the game. And the logic behind this is that if I stop making payments, they can foreclose on me, take the property, and they can still recover the loan, right? The amount that they are that's outstanding. So we got the 80% LTV. We got the new mortgage rate here that we got to plug in. This is changing fast. When I analyzed the deal, it was at 7%. Now we're at 7.5%. But if you guys want to understand what percentage you're going to get, talk to a local lender. Ask what they are charging right now. In 2024, we're at 7.5% mortgage rate. Then amortization, that's going to also come from your lender. All three numbers here, the LTV, the mortgage rate, and the amortization, it's going to come from your local bank. So ask them what they can do for you. If they can do 30 years of amortization, will be even better. Some are doing 20, some are doing 25, and only a few are doing 30. So reach out to a local lender to get those numbers. And then they'll charge us. The bank I'm working with, they're charging us 0.5 point origination fee, right? In order for them to issue this new loan, they got to charge us some money on top of the interest. They are at 0.5%. You got some at 0.25%. You got some at 1%. So you guys have to do your due diligence, especially if you are a great borrower with good income, good credit score, then you can call multiple banks and find the best deals, right? You can find the highest LTV, you can find the lowest mortgage rate, and you can find the highest number of amortization if that's what you're looking for. And ideally, you want to get the refi, the points, down to a minimum or zero. So I plugged all that in based on the commitment letter that I have from my local bank, and I came with a mortgage payment here of $4,615. It's auto-populated, right? The software will do all that for you, but at least you know that your mortgage payment will be roughly $4,600. You got $5,900 coming in revenue, in rent income. It says here that the profit at refi is $15,000. Cash out at refi is $28,000. So let's stop here for a minute. What does that mean? You got a loan with Hard Money Lender to buy a property that needs work. All the construction funds are coming from them. Now you rent it. All the construction is done, you rented it, and you are ready to refinance so you can get rid of that high interest rate. It's a short-term loan, so you gotta pay them regardless and work with a local bank. At closing, I'm gonna get a check for $28,527. So I'm not paying anymore. They're actually giving me a check. And it says here, I made a profit of $15,000 or almost $16,000, because when you look at how much money I put into the deal to what I'm getting back, I'm actually walking away from this deal with a check for $16,000 and $165,000 of equity in the building, right? When you look at the equity left in the deal, it's $165,000. So that will never happen unless you buy this property at a really good discount. And I wish we say that we buy a ton of these. It's very difficult to find a deal like this, guys. You know, we do all the renovations and we actually walk away with cash, you know, with a small profit, but $165,000 in equity on day one. And not only that, but every month we got a cash flow of almost $1,300 that come to us after paying mortgage, insurance, vacancy, all of that. One thing that I skipped by mistake is the expenses. I had plugged in the number. I said I'm gonna have expenses of $2,075 a month, but I wanted to show you guys what those expenses are. First of all, we got 7% management fee. We have a property manager in-house. Even though we have someone in-house, we still charge our building 7% interest, because if we had to outsource the property management, we'll have to pay 7 or 8%. When you guys start out, you probably want to do everything yourself, right? You don't want to pay the 7% to a property manager. You want to learn the business, so you probably want to do everything yourself. But I would highly recommend that you're still plugging in the numbers, you're still underwriting it with management fee in there. I strongly believe in that, because at some point you probably want to outsource property management. Guys, that's not a lot of fun. It's good to do it for a year or two, learn the ins and out of it, and then hand it to a property manager so they can run with it. And 7% means the property manager is charging us 7% of the total rent they're collecting per month. So if they only collect $1,000 that month, they charge us $70. That's their fee to manage the building. And for that, what they'll do is they'll take calls, pretty much deal with tenants, they collect the rent, right? They'll manage the building so you don't have to do any of that. We got other expenses. We got things like advertising. By this, I mean just listing the properties, right? We list the properties online and there is a fee for that. So I want to capture that. Insurance is super important. Janitorial, what I mean by that is cleaning, right? We clean common stairs. We really take pride in the properties we buy. So we clean front stairs, back stairs, some exterior work. So we want to have a number there because someone is going to get paid to do the work. Landscape, it goes without saying, there's always some landscape if you got any type of plants or grass on the property. We got some legal work because there is an LLC fee to be paid every year and things like that. And then property taxes, right? You can find that from the assessor's database, but obviously if you are in a state like Massachusetts, you got property tax. So you got to plug that in to have accurate numbers here, guys. All right, I'm going to wrap up expenses talking about utilities. Utilities, typically you have electricity, gas, water, and sewer. Every building we own, what we are doing is we have electricity on a separate meter just for common stairs and maybe exterior lights, right? That's what we get charged for. But tenants are paying for their own electricity and they're paying for their own gas. And right now, some of our buildings, tenants are also paying for water and sewer. And the way we do that is by having sub-meters. Every time we do these full gut renovations, we add sub-meters so we can track the consumption of the water and we can charge tenants for that, which saves us probably couple $100 per month per building, right? So it adds up if you own multiple properties and it just helps with the return. So water and sewer is on tenants, electricity just for stairs and exterior lights is on us. So that number is very small. That's the whole calculation, guys. We got, we're really down to the bottom here, which is the most important part. What I care the most is, one, is this building cash flowing? I want to buy real estate that cash flows on day one. Sometimes we do find properties that we love and we're looking at that cash flow perspective down the road. But I really, really want to buy properties that cash flow on day one, because if the market changes, if the interest rate go crazy, if the real estate market crashes, I still own a property that I'm cash flowing on day one, and I can sit on it, right? I don't need to worry about selling it. I'm not worried about the economy. I'm still collecting my cash flow. That is the number one thing I'm looking at. Also, I look at the cash on cash return as a second metric. How much money am I putting into this property? And what is the return on that money? So when you look at how much money actually we have in the property right now, it's zero, right? We took all our money out. We made actually $15,000 on top of what we invested in the first place. So our cash on cash return is infinite, which is the perfect BRRRR example, guys, where you buy a property, you do all this work, you get all the money out so you can buy the next building. So we captured all of that. We got all our money out to buy the next triple decker. But mostly, in most cases, that number for us is 20% or lower. Infinite is just a home run deal, and I wanted to share with you guys because I'm excited. But I'll be upfront that we don't only buy great deals like this. Sometimes they're less of a return, but it's property that we like and we want to keep long term. So if it's 20% cash on cash return or less, we'll still buy it, but nothing less than 15%. So it's probably somewhere between 15 and 20 that we're always aiming to get, because I can take that cash and instead of buying a triple decker, I can invest it in the stock market. And if the stock market can make me 10, 12, 15%, why should I go through all the hassle of finding a deal, renovating, when I can invest in the stock market and sit on it? But a 20% cash on cash, it's great. And if I can get that every time, I'm in good shape. The last thing I want to say is the DCR here at the bottom. This software, it's really good and it's giving you the debt coverage ratio. This is a metric that the bank will look at. They want to know how much debt do you have compared to the revenue the building is bringing in. If you are at 1.0, right? So if you're at 1.00, that means that every rent that you got, it's going out in expenses, including the mortgage. They don't like that model because it means that pretty much you are broke, right? You are going every month, you collect, you pay, you collect, you pay all, and you got no reserves, you got no savings. That's not good to them because it means that if something goes wrong, where is the cash to fix a roof, to deal with an eviction, to do anything else coming from? At 1.28, that means that you have a 28% saving, money put aside for anything like that. So you are a better borrower if the DCR is higher. What the bank is looking for is a DCR of 1.25. So guys, that's all I got for you. I really wanted to share some real numbers. After all, the name of the channel is Real Deals, Real Numbers, Lessons Learned. For me here, this was a great deal, right? The lesson here, there were a lot of lessons that we've covered on other videos, but I wanted to crunch numbers so you could see exactly how we underwrite and what we're looking for. I think it's gonna be extremely helpful if you are looking for small multifamily like the one we're buying. Highly recommend that you buy real estate. Don't wait for the interest rates to drop. Buy and wait. You can always refinance later, but my takeaway is that you make your money when you buy. So find a smoking deal like the one I purchased, because buying at $175,000 for a triple decker in Massachusetts, it's a really, really good deal, right? And anything else that you do, even if everything else is wrong, you'll still get out in good shape. If you like this, like, share, subscribe, and join me at the meetup events. We have those once a month. Like I said, I would love to say hi, hang out, talk real estate investing. We have a newsletter that we send once a month to everybody on our database, and we pretty much share everything we're up to. We share these videos, we share properties that we're buying, how we're finding deals. If we're raising capital, we plug it in there. You guys should be on that newsletter so you can stay in touch with us and up to date. Like, share, subscribe. Catch you guys on the next one.